From the director of It Comes at Night comes The Weeknd. Not Friday through Sunday, but the performer known as, or at least up to now known as, The Weeknd in Hurry Up Tomorrow from Lionsgate. So here's the deal. I don't know anything about The Weeknd. I mean, I know about Friday through Sunday. I don't know anything about the singer who's known as, or up to now has been known as, The Weeknd, other than there is a person who is a singer who refers to themselves as The Weeknd, and he co-wrote and stars in this film, Hurry Up Tomorrow, apparently as himself. I didn't know that going into this, and it's kind of, he's never really referred to by name, but the basic story goes a little something like this. Not going to tell you the whole story, although there really isn't a lot of story here. The Weeknd is The Weeknd in this film, a super huge pop singer, beloved by millions, tortured soul living the life of snorting cocaine and drinking and popping pills and going to clubs where the music goes ooch, 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 and jumping up and down and saying woo and riding in limousines and being unhappy with the incredible life that he has made for himself, because apparently he has done something. He has wronged a female in his life who won't talk to him anymore, and he loved her, and he's sad, and he's broken up, and he can't perform, or he can perform, or who knows what. That's basically the story. Into his life comes Jenna Ortega, an obsessed fan who wants to be with him and loves his music and all of that. And as if you say the words obsessed fan, generally not a great connotation. So so that's pretty much what this movie is. I don't want to say any more than that. Barry Keoghan is in it, and he plays his best friend, his brother. He's my brother, which he says multiple times. We're brothers. Who's his keeper, let's say, in the film. So the film really basically takes place backstage at a concert, a little bit on stage at concert, and then in a hotel room where things unfold between Jenna Ortega and the man who up to now has been known as The Weeknd. So interestingly filmed. I'm not going to really say I liked how it was filmed for the most part, because I thought too much of this film was shot way too tight, like close-ups. And for whatever reason, I think it's the director did this in It Comes at Night as well. Multiple aspect ratios. So what you're seeing me in right now is roughly, I guess, 178. 4:3, 133 is more or less square. And I do this for square because I'm looking at my screen, or may think I'm worshiping Satan or really into metal. So a lot of the film is 4:3 for some reason, which makes it even more cramped. The Weeknd, how is he as an actor? I can't really say, because he doesn't do a lot in this film. He sings and he performs very well. Man's an excellent singer. I'll give you that. But most of the film, he's either very angry or crying. Jenna Ortega is good in this. It's funny because this was, to my knowledge, a feature-length film. Didn't feel too long. It actually ended earlier than I thought it would, which not a lot of movies do anymore. It really, to me, felt like, and I know this movie's getting a lot of flack, I think probably by people who think it's a vanity project, or The Weeknd is not a good actor, or whatever. Anyway, this is really kind of the first time I've spent any time with the guy, so it felt to me sort of like a long-form music video. Not that there's music throughout, because there isn't. There's musical sequences and everything, but it felt like the kind of thing like when Michael Jackson would make a new music video, and it would be like 11 minutes, and somewhere in that 11 minutes was what they would eventually clip out as the music video, but there was a whole story and everything that led up to that. That's what this movie kind of feels like. It's well produced, certainly. Again, too much of it is shot too close and shot way too dark with shaky camera, and you really can't see what the hell's going on, which just drives me crazy. But it didn't offend me while I was watching it. There were a couple of moments in the movie where I kind of wanted to laugh, and I don't know if I was laughing with it or at it. I didn't think it was terrible. Is it indulgent? Yeah, probably. Is it a vanity project? Yeah, probably. Co-written by The Weeknd. But I was surprised that apparently he's playing himself in this film. I thought he was playing, a character very much like The Weeknd, but it says The Weeknd here and there in the film. And so is this anything new? Not really. This feels like a lot of movies I've seen before about stalkers or obsessive fans, including two films entitled The Fan, including a film called Der Fan, which is very good, much more fleshed out and disturbing than this film is. German horror film from the early 80s. Music in it is fine. If you love The Weeknd, you probably get a lot more out of this. I read some discussion about this film between watching it and talking about it right now. I get choked up when I talk about discussions. And people who are really into this person got a lot more out of it. People who know a lot more about his career and his intentions for his career and his personal life got a lot more out of it than I did. I'm speaking to you as an ignorant viewer. I'm speaking to you as the kind of person who might watch this movie on a whim, which is exactly what this was. I didn't know anything about it. I'd seen one trailer that made me go, this looks kind of like an artsy American version of The Fan, which it is, Der Fan, sorry. And so I'm speaking as a person who doesn't know anything about The Weeknd and just is talking to you about this as a movie. If you're somebody who ever dials this up streaming, which is where this will live its entire life. Surprisingly, though, decent number of people for a 10 a.m. Sunday matinee. When I say decent, I mean about 7, which is, usually I'm alone if I go to a matinee for anything. So that says something about this film. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have anything of substance to say, but then really, if you watch many of my videos, do I ever really have anything of substance to say? This film really speaks to the whole genre or concept of the entertainer who seems to have it all, but is still unhappy. Money can't buy you happiness. I think it can buy you a lot less worries, though. Obsessive fans, the relationship between a fan and who they think the artist they're obsessed with, or they're a fan of, who they think the person is based on their creative output versus who they really are. The Weeknd is himself, again, Barry Keoghan, future Ringo, is fine in this. Not terribly likable. I don't know that personally that I found The Weeknd terribly likable in this film, just as what is presented on camera. You don't see enough of him as somebody who isn't the rock star who's about to go on stage, who's out of the gate he is obsessed and upset with somebody. So you have the Jenna Ortega character who is presented from the get-go as somebody who's clearly troubled. You see the Weeknd character, somebody who's clearly troubled. She is obsessed with him. He is obsessed with somebody else. The twain will meet, and who will survive and what will be left of them. What kind of movie is this? Is this a drama? Yes. Is it a musical? Not really. Is it a horror movie? Kind of. Ultimately, I found it disappointing in where the movie goes and what the movie does. At first, I thought the movie was giving me something I've seen a bunch of times, which it does. And then the end is something I didn't expect, but I don't know if I really cared about. Ultimately, it really did feel like one of those 10 or 11 minute music videos, but a bit longer than that. So in theaters now, as I record this, streaming forevermore, probably a lot better if you're a fan of the artist that this film revolves around, is Hurry Up Tomorrow.